What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and we don't have a ton of plays tonight, but we have enough. We have about, I think it's like 7 plays that I like. So if you followed yesterday, then you know we had a good day. We did 5-2 in NBA, and for college, we about split. We have a couple ones on leg 2 that missed. So as you can see, we're not playing any leg 3s today. What I am playing is just some college plays, and you can see 2 of them. One's for our Clippers loss yesterday. They didn't win, so leg 2 units is going to be Texas, San Antonio, covers Florida Atlantic. And then for the Mavs not covering the Hawks for leg 2, I'm taking the under on Denver and South Dakota. And they would play at 7. Now, I will say I always match this up to the official ESPN spread. And just while we're at it, we'll look at the other 3 are all unders. I like under on San Diego, Youngstown State, and on Stetson. And there's a reason I like the under on those games. They're just games that these teams have not gone under much at all this year. So I think it's a good metric play. But as you can see, when we go into the games, and again, I don't pick the flashiest games or the most fun. I just go by metrics. And we'll go into the NBA next, but I just wanted to hit this first. So we scroll down and you can see, and the reason I'm doing this is to show you that there's one thing that I always do. I always make sure. So here we go. We got Kennesaw State and Stetson. And as you know, we have the under. ESPN has it set at 141. So I'm going to get 141, or I'm going to get a number higher than that. Okay? Because you always want to match up your against the spread to ESPN's official metric. You want it to be that or better, because that's what they go by when they do the against the spreads on the team rankings. So we got Stetson going under, nothing crazy there. And as we scroll, it's the same thing. We got all the 4 plays we have, they're unders. I do think Denver, South Dakota, under. And again, it's just because of in my opinion, the metrics. And we got where are they at? I want to make sure I find them. Oh, here we go. San Diego, Portland, that's going to be an under. Now, the only one, as you can see, San Diego, Portland, Stetson, we got Denver, South Dakota going under. The only one that is the second leg here is Denver, and that's just because they're over 80% on the over this year, and I think of all the teams, they're the most likely to go under. So Denver, South Dakota, I do like the under as a leg 2, and the others I like it as a leg 3. Now, I have one cover, so we got Youngstown State going under San Diego, Stetson, and those are our unders. As far as a cover, I like Texas, San Antonio to cover Florida Atlantic as a leg 2. Just because, like I had said already, I think that there has to be, eventually, I think Florida Atlantic's 81% against the spread. And yes, it can continue, but you're not going to have handfuls of teams over 70% against the spread. So you can see nothing crazy, just 5 plays. The 2 I like the most is the under on Denver and the cover on Texas, Florida Atlantic. And that's another one where with Texas, San Antonio, Florida Atlantic, see if I can find it real quick, you want to make sure that you're also getting the best possible spread. So you want to match it up to the closing spread. That way you don't get clipped by, say, half a point. So here we can see it's 16.5. You want to make sure we're getting at least 16.5, maybe even 17. If by 8 o'clock it's moved to, say, 14.5, 15, you just want to make sure you match it and you get the best line you can. So I always take the ESPN line as far as a spread goes, just like the over-under, and I try and get a half point better. Now, going into the NBA games, there's not a ton. I'm only playing like 2 games because there's only about 4, and none are jumping out at me. So if I know this was in Paris, I honestly would have gone Bulls because they're just a more storied franchise. It makes sense that they would appeal to them in Paris, but I wasn't paying attention. Now, for the other 4 games, I'll just say I do love the Blazers. Again, I think the Blazers need games like this, just like we had the Wizards beating the Knicks yesterday, and we've done it with many teams this year. This is a game the Blazers absolutely need to win this game. So I'm going to take them. I will take the 2 points because you never know. Again, this isn't as much of a metric pick as it is just who I think is going to win. But I would take the 2 points because you never know. 1 point games, 2 point games happen all the time. So love the Blazers +2. Here we got the Nets Suns, and I'm going with Suns. I think this is the time of year they have to start getting the playoff teams ready. Okay, now you don't got Paul, but that's okay because you got Payne, you got Bridges, you got Ayton, so they can go and they can explain away Suns winning here. But I just don't see the Nets finishing with 55 wins and the Suns finishing with 35. I think it's going to be closer to even, and they need to have Suns win games like this to even it out. So I really do like the Suns here. And we'll go to the Raptors next because I'm not positive on that one. Here we got Golden State at Boston, and it's pretty simple. I love Boston. I think they need to show, that especially on TNT, they lost in the finals. I think they need to show that Boston is going to just pummel Golden State at home. Don't forget, just because they step back, they're still known as being horrible on the road. So I like Boston. So basically, as you can see, I like all the home teams to cover, except this one. This one I do like Toronto because I think it's a trap. 5.5 points is a lot for a team that just almost beat the Nuggets. And while I think they're giving up on the Raptors, they're not just going to have them lose 60 games. So while the Wolves do need wins, I think this one they can get away with losing. And I like the Raptors here minus 5.5. And like I said, always wait for the, just to make sure, as close to the closing lines as you can. That way you're getting the best possible lines and the ones closest to ESPN. So it's just going to be these games, and then, like I said, these are all leg ones, and then the leg twos I've already plugged in. Denver, South Dakota under, Texas covering Florida Atlantic. And I will be going into the much-anticipated Jacksonville, Kansas City game. I actually have I want to say it's a bold prediction, but I have a interesting prediction on this game where I think a lot of people kind of know what's going to happen, but I think this one's going to be a little bit of a surprise. So I'm going to go into this. I've been seeing a lot of interesting things that make me feel like people might sleep on Jacksonville. So I'll be going into that game later. It'll be tonight or first thing in the morning. That way people will have some time before locking it in. They might change the lines, which I hate. So I try and get them out Thursday or Friday. That way if by Saturday they change the lines, people can get both sides. In a game like this, I don't see much happening outside of maybe it's swinging between 8 and 9. I don't think it's going to flip to 10 or down to 7. So that's why I wasn't covering it. Like remember when the Dolphins played the Jets and it swung from Dolphins minus or plus, it was Dolphins plus 1 and it swung all the way to Dolphins minus 3.5. When I see stuff like that, I always bring it up because I think there's a good chance of a flip. But a lot of these games are just like 4-point games, 6-point games this weekend. So we'll be going into this. Of course, it's on 1-2-1, a palindrome. They love that. With the 1-4-3 record for the Chiefs, they love that. Jags 9-9. They could go 9-9-9-9. So a lot of interesting things could happen here. But I do think that narratives are going to reign supreme in this game. And they've been setting up a narrative that if you've been paying attention to, I think we can do well with this game. So we'll go into this, and like I said, I think we have a good night with basketball. So take care, everybody, and happy earnings.